There is no shortage of seemingly complicated rules that members of the royal family are expected to follow. You might think that the women in the family get a bit of a break when they're with child, but this couldn't be further from the truth. We'll let you know just what is expected from the pregnant Meghan Markle and what Kate Middleton has already experienced through her pregnancies. Before we get started, stay up to date with the royal family by clicking on the subscribe button for more from TheTalko. Let's begin. Travel. Being a member of the royal family does have a ton of perks, and one of them is being able to travel all over the world. Sure, you have to bring along a contingent of security guards, but it's not uncommon for people to jet off to exotic locales. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle announced their pregnancy, they had just embarked on a 16-day tour of Australia, New Zealand, and several South Pacific islands. While we were excited to hear the news, we were surprised that these two were on the move despite expecting a child. That's because travel is generally frowned upon when members of the royal family are pregnant. While it's okay for now, as the pregnancy progresses, Meghan Markle won't be allowed to travel long distances. This is both for her safety and the safety of the baby. The particular trip of Harry and Meghan was probably one scheduled way in advance, and it would be more trouble than it's worth to cancel. But hopefully they'll be ready to hunker down until spring of 2019 when their baby is due. Traveling can be dangerous, and when a royal family member is pregnant, it just isn't worth the risk. Royal duties. Many people look at the royal family and think they must live incredibly easy lives. After all, they could spend the rest of their lives having plenty of money and never working another day. But this doesn't mean they sit around doing nothing all day. In fact, being a member of the royal family is a full-time job. Between their royal engagements, government duties, public appearances, and personal charity projects, they're kept quite busy. And they're expected to keep working despite being pregnant. Maternity leave isn't really a thing in the royal family, and it's not a valid excuse to get out of obligations. Just look at how hard Kate Middleton was working up until the births of her 3 children. You might not expect the women of the royal family to work up until the moment they give birth, but this is often the case. When Kate Middleton gave birth to her first child, Prince George, she started attending royal engagements a mere 6 weeks later. However, when she and Prince William welcomed Prince Charlotte to the family, Kate took off about 4 months. Her longest maternity leave was for Prince Louis, when she took April to October off. Even her third and longest maternity leave wasn't anything out of the ordinary for most women in the world. Parties. Now more than ever, it seems as if each and every milestone in a pregnancy is cause for a celebration. But if you're a member of the royal family, the celebrations and expectation of the newest family member are surprisingly meaningful. You definitely aren't going to hear about Meghan Markle having a baby shower anytime soon. In fact, it would be considered positively gauche for a pregnant member of the royal family to have one. After all, this family has more than enough to go around, so on occasion, to shower the expectant mother with gifts would seem ridiculous. Royal children are typically inundated with gifts after they're born, but unfortunately, they'll never get to enjoy them. The royal children are not allowed to accept unsolicited gifts, meaning the hundreds or thousands of presents they inevitably receive are donated to charity. Another popular party is a gender reveal party, but Meghan Markle won't be allowed to have one of these either. Although the expectant parents are allowed to find out their child's gender, they're forbidden to announce it until the baby is born. Kate Middleton and Prince William even chose to leave it as a surprise when their children were born. Notifications. When it comes to giving birth, there is no one-size-fits-all method for success. Some people want nothing more than a delivery room filled with their nearest and dearest friends and family members, but others just want to keep things quiet until they have time to meet their newest family member in private. But if you're a member of the royal family, you can't just get away with sending out a group text after the fact. Besides the parents and hospital staff, the first person to find out about the newest member of the royal family is the reigning monarch, the Queen. New parents aren't allowed to inform anyone before the Queen finds out, even the child's grandparents. When Kate Middleton and Prince William had their children, they were forced to call the Queen on a special encrypted line to deliver the news. Once Queen Elizabeth knew the babies had arrived safely, the new parents were free to notify other family members. And then, of course, there was the whole rigmarole concerning the formal public birth announcement. This announcement will be displayed at Buckingham Palace on print and left on easels. It's expected to show the baby's sex, weight, and time of birth. Birth. There are obviously a ton of rules that pregnant women in the royal family are expected to follow, but there are a lot of benefits they get to enjoy as well. Sadly, the birth experiences of many women depend on what type of medical care they're able to afford. But if you're a member of the royal family, there is no question that you'll have access to the best of the best. Perhaps surprisingly, for a long time, having a baby at home was the norm in the royal family. Obviously, these women need much more privacy and security than the average expectant mother. So in many ways, this made sense. Both Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth gave birth to all of their children at home. But of course, they had veritable armies of qualified doctors, nurses, and medical equipment brought in. But the past few generations of mothers have changed the game, and now it's expected that new royal mothers will give birth in hospitals. In fact, Prince William made history when he was born in 1982 because his mother, Princess Diana, had him in a hospital instead of at home. She gave birth in the Lindo wing of St. Mary's Hospital, the same place where Kate Middleton will go on to have her 3 children. Naming. When a woman is pregnant, she spends a lot of time planning for the moment she first gets to meet her new bundle of joy. One of the most pressing matters, of course, is what to name their beautiful new baby. This can be a considerable undertaking for the average expectant mother, and it's the reason books of baby names are always flying off bookstore shelves. But when you're carrying a member of the royal family, it's expected you will choose a name which is rich in family tradition. In some ways, this can complicate the whole naming process, but in other ways, it's surprisingly simple. Meghan Markle won't have to worry about the last name of her baby because it simply won't have one. That's right, members of the royal family don't have last names. They have the option of going by Mountbatten Windsor in honor of the Queen and her husband, but many choose to go on a different route. Instead, they typically go by some sort of family territorial designation instead. For example, when Prince William and Prince Harry served in the military, they were known as William Wales and Harry Wales. Meanwhile, Princess Eugene and Beatrice are known as Eugene York and Beatrice York because their father, Prince Andrew, is the Duke of York. Christening. In addition to picking out a name, planning a christening is something which expectant mothers can look forward to. However, women in the royal family are expected to adhere to strict traditions regarding the christening. The ceremony will take place at the Chapel Royal at St. James Palace in London, and the wardrobe is quite specific. Even the smallest members of the royal family are known for their impeccable fashion, but this doesn't mean they're always buying brand new clothing. They utilize a surprising number of hand-me-downs, and this christening gown is one of them. This garment has been used by 8 generations of royal children. The Honiton christening gown has been worn by 62 royal babies over the course of 163 years. The first to wear it was the future King Edward VII and the Queen, plus Prince Charles, Prince William, and Prince Harry also all wore it. It's a replica of the dress that Queen Victoria commissioned for her first child, Victoria Adelaide Mary Louisa. The Honiton gown was inspired by Queen Victoria's wedding dress and is made from white silk with a lace overlay. It may sound like a simple garment, but this is an important part of royal family history and tradition. Teamwork. Whether a new royal mother chooses to give birth in a hospital or at home, she definitely isn't going to do so alone. In the past, it was unheard of for fathers to be in the delivery room, but this has changed. Queen Elizabeth's husband, Prince Philip, made history by being the first royal husband to be present during the birth of his child. She had been reading about the importance of fathers being involved in the process, so insisted that Philip be present. It was a pretty stark contrast to the birth of their first son, Prince Charles. While the Queen was delivering him, Prince Philip was off playing squash, but now it's expected for royal fathers to be present, and they aren't the only one on hand. When Kate Middleton had her first child, Prince George, she had a team of 20 medical professionals completely dedicated to her care. Prior to the birth of Prince Charles in 1948, royal births had to be attended to by a government official who acted as a witness. Births began to be verified in the late 17th century after the son of King James II's son, James, was rumored to be an imposter. But thankfully for Meghan Markle, Queen Elizabeth did away with that requirement. Titles. Not only do new parents have to worry about choosing a proper and historically meaningful name, but they have to think about the titles of their future children. When someone marries into the royal family, it's common for the Queen to grant the new couple official titles. This is done at the discretion of the Queen, who named Prince Harry and Meghan Markle the Duke and Duchess of Sussex upon their marriage. When it comes to being born with a title, the Letters Patent, issued in 1917, states that only grandchildren born to sons receive royal titles. So the children of Princess Anne, Zara, and Peter Tyndall don't go by his or her Royal Highness. For a while, only the eldest son of the Prince of Wales got a title. However, the Queen amended the decree in 2012, so little Charlotte and Louis would have titles just like their brother. It's customary for the eldest son of a duke to inherit his father's title, so if Prince Harry has a son, he may be known as the Earl of Dumbarton, before eventually becoming a duke. But the Queen has the power to override this rule and may well grant her new grandchild the title of Prince or Princess if she so chooses. Nannies. When it's announced that a member of the royal family is expecting, people immediately begin speculating on how the child will be raised. But the parents aren't the only ones who have to get ready to do a ton of work in that department. Royal children are attended to by no shortage of nannies, and it's considered an essential part of raising a royal child. The strange thing is, these people are so essential to raising the next generation of royal family members, but the public very rarely hears about them. Pregnant women need to select nannies to work with their child. And let's just say the requirements are pretty strict. Being able to change diapers and clean up spills just isn't going to cut it when you're tasking with looking after a royal child. Nannies actually have to undergo martial arts training in a variety of disciplines before they can even be considered for the position. Sure, like all members of the royal family, this child will have its own security force, but this doesn't mean the nanny can afford not to be constantly vigilant. Being a royal nanny is a demanding job, but one with no small amount of prestige. What do you think about the rules pregnant women in the royal family have to follow? Do you think any of them are outdated, or do they seem like good guidelines? Let us know what you think in the comments section, and then click subscribe for more from TheTalko. Bye for now.